Welcome back to the Violent Life Podcast. I'm your host, Lucas O, MMA, and I'm here with my boy V. And we're here to break down UFC Sacramento, which was Anthony Hernandez versus RoboCop Rodriguez. And we're going to take a look at our upcoming fight night, which is Song Yadong and Umar Nurmogomedov. Just starting this off, man, this card was a really fun card. We had 10 finishes. From start to finish, it was really fun, man. And, we both had a big individual wins. So why don't you tell us what you hit on this weekend, V?
So I had a parlay. It was 25 to win 192. It was about 5 legs. It was the first 5 fights on the main card. And, I had Medeiros plus 3.5. Wasn't really sure. I figured it was going to be a close fight. So I put him to win a round. He ended up winning the fight. And then everything else was just round line leans, And I also had Vitor Petrino money line in there. But everything else was round line leans. And I was taking like over 1.5 or under 2.5. And, it paid out. So I'm very happy.
Now, how many legs was that?
5 legs.
5 legs. That's nice, man. Oh, what a nice ride that must have been. I on the other hand, I ended up hitting as well, but on Markel Medeiros, man, I just straight bet 25 money line, and that shit paid out real nice. I also had quite a few bets sprinkled throughout all the different betting apps, all on RoboCop, which paid very handsomely. So, great week for betting, man. Feels nice to be back up. But starting off with this card, man, we had Chanel Dyer and Elise Reed start this fight. And Chanel Dyer was a massive favorite, and, she looked like it. She was really whooping Elise Reed's ass for the whole fight. And in the third round, she ended up finding her combos and was able to put Elise Reed away. Good fight, man. What'd you think?
Yeah, I'm very high on Chanel Dyer. I think I mentioned that in the previous pod. In this matchup, there was a huge skill gap. Elise Reed, she's always been kind of tough, but the speed, the youth, the combinations it was all in favor of Chanel Dyer. And she looked phenomenal. But this is one of those matchups where, she did what she was supposed to do. And we've been saying that a lot the past few weeks. She did what she was supposed to do. And, going forward, we'll see if she can maintain the success that she's on. But I have very high expectations for her. And, she is an exciting female fighter. And, she's one of these females where, I wouldn't be upset if she's on a main card. I wouldn't if she's on a card at all. I'm going to be definitely interested in tuning into her fights. So, having these exciting female fighters coming up, we got another one that we'll break down later on the card. I'll be perfectly okay with these girls getting main card opportunities moving forward because they do deliver and they're very exciting. So
yeah, and that's all you want. Yeah, it seems like with women's MMA, there's no in between of piss break or really exciting finish. Yeah, very fun fight. I'm excited to see what's next for Chanel Dyer. Moving on to what do they call this one? Biblically accurate Jesus versus white Jesus? Is that
some shit like that?
Wes Schultz versus
This for me was trash versus trash. So
trash versus trash. We had Wes Schultz versus Jackson McVeigh. It was trash versus trash while it lasted. Pretty quick fight. Jackson McVeigh landed a knee to the body, similar to like RDR, Bo Nickel, and put Wes Schultz down. Not much more than that.
Yeah, if you bet Jackson McVeigh and you were confident in that, it's like, good for you for winning the bet. But I was not confident in either side, and I did have a play where I had Jackson McVeigh in it, but I wasn't too confident in it at all. I just thought it was tight money line, and the only time I ever saw Wes Schultz fight was when he just curled up against Pinas. So, it's a win for Jackson McVeigh, but, if there's 40 guys in that division, he's ranked number 38. He's not too good. So it is what it is, but it was a good, entertaining finish. So not too much to harp on there.
Again, all you can ask for, man. Moving on to Gage Young and Stan Dorsainville. This was another one, man, where the odds were pretty high for Gage Young. Stan looked incredible, man. He was able to defend the takedowns. He was able to really land his shots, and he won the unanimous decision, 29-28 on all scorecards.
Yeah, this was a scrap. This was a great fight to watch. It was a great performance by both of them. Gage Young looked good early. He just looked like he was too quick on the feet, landing combinations, mixing things up with his grappling. But yeah, I didn't know too much about Shane Dorsonville, but now I'm a big fan of his. What I liked going in between round 1 and 2 is he asked his corner, "What is he hitting me with?" You know, he was looking to figure out how to get around what Gage Young was throwing at him. And he came out in rounds 2 and 3 and made it real scrappy, landing the bigger strikes. And then at the end of the fight, it was a close third round. And people would argue that Shane Young had the more significant strike of the round. But what really sold him was, you don't point down to the center of the cage and then shoot a takedown in the last 10 seconds. So that's not a
Yeah.
good look. But overall, it was a great fight. And very excited to see where both of these guys go from here.
Yeah, hey man, it's super nice to get these guys that step in against big contenders, and we know nothing about them, and they end up putting on a great fight. There's no downside to it. I mean, I guess technically, if they were to come in, have a really great fight and win, and then go on a really bad losing streak, that looks bad on the once prospect we had. But you look at like Malcolm Wallmaker, even with his losses, he's still a top prospect, and he's fighting guys in this exact scenario where, we don't know these guys. They're stepping up short notice and they look great. So, I'm all for the last minute star power entering the UFC. But
Well,
yeah, very
going into the next fight, this is where it's the counter flip. We got a guy who stepped up on short notice up against a killer and he got memed, I guess you could say. It was like a Aura Farm TKO going into Barbosa versus Kraus. That's the next fight.
cues.
Hughes? Yeah.
Yeah.
He tried
So
to
funny
initiate.
enough, with this one, man, I was cooking a nice porterhouse steak, a nice reverse sear on it. And I said to my girlfriend, I said, "Hey, you want to see a sacrificial slaughtering?" And she came, sat down to watch. And, we were watching the first, minute of the fight. And then my timer went off. And as soon as I stepped up and walked away, I just heard everyone go crazy. He got the knockout. Very much expected, very much continuing this trend that we talk about of doing what he should do. And that's what this was. And, when you make matchups like this, I think it's good to sprinkle these matchups in. I would never say it's good to give a lot of these matchups to one guy, but I like to see these matchups, and I think everybody does, because it's going to be entertaining one way or another. Either the favorite gets a really dominating performance, or we see a nice upset. So, I'd like them to keep making these matchups. And I think, the fact that we've seen them make these matchups for a lot of the recent cards, added in with the recent success, every single fight night we've had lately has been so finish heavy and so entertaining. So I think that they're going to continue that trend, and I'm all for it.
Yeah, it was like you said, like we've been saying, did what he was supposed to do. It was a sacrificial lamb moment, and that shot grazed the temple or right over the forehead. It was a nice left hook, and yeah, man, I'm very, very excited to see Barbosa continue to climb up the rankings. He's another prospect to definitely watch out for in this very, very interesting division.
For sure, man. Well, and then we talk about prospects. We got Chris Padilla, man. We got Taco taking on Nasrat. I didn't bet on this. I'm glad I didn't, because I would have bet on this one to end early. Nasrat's one of those guys that gets finished early a lot, and I didn't expect him to last as long as he did. Granted, this was basically a 3-round fight with, that last second, that buzzer beater sub, man, was really sick to see. But it does make me question Chris Padilla if he's not able to finish Nasrat early. That's kind of an early test that you should be passing. So, fun scrap and even more entertaining finish.
Well, see, I would agree, but Taco's he's been proving everybody wrong the past 6 fights he's had. Finishing Nasrat, isn't as easy as Quillen made it look. He's a tough dude. He's gone to war with many fighters. You know, Dan Hooker couldn't finish him. Bobby Green couldn't finish him. Taco, we'll break down Medeiros later. That fight was a draw, and people think that Taco won that fight. I actually had two parlays where I had Padilla money line and I had Taco they gave me a plus 3.5. So we just had to win a round. And I thought that was easy money. And I forgot what I was doing, but this was one of the fights where I missed everything up until the last 30 seconds. So I am very happy with that. Taco, he's going to continue to do his thing, man. He's a very scrappy dude. He just presses forward in every fight, pumps out high volume, and that shit at the end was sick, man. That little standing arm triangle that he dragged him to the ground and put him out. That's hype right there. And I saw one of the dudes that I watch, shout out We Want Picks, my boy Jacob. He had bet $50 Taco round 3 sub, paid out about $1,700. He ended up winning $7,500 on Saturday night. So shout out him.
My God,
Yeah.
what a nice hit.
Nice hit right there.
Awesome, man. Well, hey man, moving on. This was embarrassing for me because last week, I initially was taking Kennedy, and then on the pod, I ended up changing my mind to Shamil Gaziev, and then last minute, I went back to Kennedy Nchukwu, who killed my parlay. But it's all good. Shamil the Meal Deal Gaziev is the real deal. And not really, that was just fun to say. But, Kennedy looked stupid, man. He came out there with his hands down, and I don't know what he was expecting to do. That's one of those really questionable IQ moments. But I gotta say, who cares at this point? No, who in 2026 gives a fuck about Kennedy Nchukwu? I mean, he's kind of a journeyman, if you even want to call it that. Not even. He's a middle tier gatekeeper. The unranked gatekeeper. Actually, I don't know. Is he even ranked? I don't think so. But, this was a nice knockout to add to the card. I don't think there's anything else for that. What do you got?
Yeah, I knew Shamil was gonna get this one done. I mean, Kennedy has always been chinny throughout his career, and then as soon as I saw the game plan at the first opening seconds of the fight, I'm like, this dude is dumb as bricks, man. Like, he thought he was that guy, and he found out real quick he's not that guy. You can't play that game with Shamil, keeping your hands down like that. We talked last week. I don't think Shamil's losses are that bad. We lost to Pericic. Pericic is a very high level heavyweight, especially in the striking. And Waldo, although I wasn't a fan of Waldo for a while, Waldo's also very solid, and he's only losing to the top guys. So, yeah, get Shamil back in the rankings, and let's put him up against Walter Walker, bruv, the next fight.
I don't know if you should be giving him Walter immediately, but you know what? Regardless, that would be fun to see. Yeah, man. But, so moving on to this one. This one was a real parlay buster for most people.
This was my parlay busters. I had two parlays that would have hit, and this was my parlay buster. I'm going to say before we get into this is why you can't bet these type of fighters. Coming off a great win, but they go up again. They're still unproven. And then they go up against guys that have been around for a long time. It's better just to pick it and not bet it. All right. You could look dumb for saying it, but if you put money down on it and this is what makes or breaks your parlays, you're going to be hurting even worse. So stay away from these guys going forward. But yes, Larian Douglas kind of gets fraud checked by Jamal Emmers. A nice little overhand right. It looked like a couple of those shots were about to get through for Larian, and then all it took was a overhand right to break through the guard, put down Larian Douglas, and that was it. That was it. It was a good win for Jamal. It was a great win for Jamal Emmers. The guy's been around and fought the who's who, But, I mean, a lot of people will see Jamal Emmers fight with a guy like Nate Landwehr and be like, yeah, Larian Douglas is going to put him down. But that's not how it goes. And what's his name? We said last week, Larian Douglas, he beat Julian Erosa. And, we were talking like, oh, it's just Julian Erosa. But for some reason, man, Julian Erosa beats great fighters and loses to absolute shit fighters. That's his career. So, it is what it is. This was the parlay breaker for most people. And a great win for Jamal Emmers.
Yeah. And yeah, great. Congrats to anyone that bet Emmers. And we'll leave it at that. Moving on to, and this was the first fight of the main card, Anthony Wint versus Terrence Chapman. Anthony Wint won a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago on Contender Series, and immediately asked Dana White to get a fight in Vegas. Said he didn't want to leave Vegas until he got one, and they gave him one. And, this was a great debut for him. He came out, got Chapman down, and got the arm triangle choke. It was simple as that. And from NFL to UFC, it's always fun to see these stars from other sports come in and see them be successful.
Yeah, not too much to break down. I mean, Chaplin, what's the kid's name? Chapman? Chapman. Yeah, sacrificial lamb. It was like a Greek god build versus a fucking sack of potatoes. It wasn't, this was, again, a fight where it was supposed to go the way it went. And let's get Anthony Wint, a guy that's an actual UFC fighter, next. Good for him on this win. We love the guys that make quick turnarounds and finish fights, but let's get him an actual UFC opponent next time around.
Yeah, for sure. Moving on to a really exciting one, man. Carly Judice and Gisela Chavez. I think I'm saying that right. Dude, Carly Judice just looks so good, man, every time she gets out there. And this was no different. She came out there. She was landing well. Landed a really nice body kick to put Chavez down, and then finished it up. And really, really fun, quick performance from Carly Judice.
Another woman's fight on this card. That's 2 for 2. These girls are so exciting to watch, so fun to watch. And, I'll be not upset if they are on a main card and picking up main card slots, and because they deserve it. They're putting on great fights, great performances, finishing fights. So I hope that this is the new generation of women's fighters that we'll see, because it's just very fun to watch. It's very entertaining. I mean, we saw that what came out on, I forgot what interview it was, but Bisping mentioned the DJ that there hasn't been a finish in a women's title fight in 5 years. That's pretty insane to think about. So, hopefully we start seeing more finishes in these female fights. Great win by Carly Judice, and excited for her. Hopefully she could get another main card slot sometime in the near future.
Yeah, for sure. I'm all for it, man. Moving on to the big one for both of us. Markel Maderos and Mason Jones. Everyone was high on Mason Jones coming off of his scrap with Axel Sosa, but it wasn't his night, man. Markel Maderos came out. I mean, honestly, they both looked great. They were scrapping. First round was close. Actually, what did I score the first? I think, yeah, the first round actually went to Mason Jones. And then round 2, man, Maderos started finding success with the elbows and was able to kind of swarm and overwhelm, hurt him, and get the call. I was freaking out, man. What a exciting upset to watch.
Yeah, I'm a big Mason Jones fan. The guy always brings it. It looked like it was going to be another Mason Jones type scrap. But the thing is, and this is why I bet the way I did with that fight, is because fighters that are known to take damage and come back, eventually that chin is going to crack, man. Eventually that chin is going to crack, and unfortunately cracked in this fight. So great performance by Medeiros. Great fight from both of them. Hopefully Mason Jones could come back and still deliver and give us great scraps in the future.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't think this is going to be the end for him at all. This was a quick mistake he made that, you just got to tune a few things up. His stand-up's already great, so I don't think this is going to be too detrimental. He didn't get flatlined. He just kind of got caught, and he didn't even really go down. The ref just stepped in because he was so dazed. But yeah, I think both of them will be back, and I'm excited to see what happens with them next. Moving on, another quick finish, man. We had so many of these, and it was pretty cool. Renier de Ridder debuted at light heavyweight against Roman Dolidze, and this was, I would say, maybe the funniest fight of the card, because Roman Dolidze came out, pulled guard, and then de Ridder got on top of him, mixed up ground and pound and submission attempts to get the TKO victory pretty quickly in the first round. So what the fuck are we doing, Roman Dolidze? Pulling guard at this level in the UFC. I don't know if I sound too harsh, but cut this man right now.
I would agree. Cut him. I mean, that was like a Looney Tunes type of fight. What are you doing going out there just pulling guard against like there's no way the game plan was to go out there, pull guard, and then go for leg locks until you ultimately got ground and pound finished by RDR. Like that must have been his game plan, but it definitely wasn't his team's game plan for him. Yeah, good win for RDR. He's back in the win column, but it's one of those fights where it's like you really can't take much away from it for him. Like, because, not every fight in that division is going to go like that. Nobody's going to be that stupid, knowing that your strength is on the ground and just pull guard on you. So that's
Yeah.
just terrible fight IQ from Roman Dolidze. And at this point, the days of Roman and Vittori 3 are over. Get him out of here. Get him out of
Get
here.
him out of here.
Send him to PFL.
Bye-bye. MVP. Bye-bye.
Mhm.
Fucking. Well, moving on to our co-main event, which, after looking at this whole card, I gotta ask, why the fuck was this our co-main event? Sergey Spivak and Vitor Petrino. I mean, this was just a pretty boring, slow, fat, heavyweight fight. Was this was Petrino's heavyweight debut? Or
No,
no,
but yeah, I
last one
agree.
was.
Yeah, I agreed with you going into the card. Like, why is this the co-main event? This fight should be on the prelims. If anything, I think they deserved either the RDR Dolidze fight could have been the co-main. RDR's a big name, but I thought that Mason Jones and Medeiros could have stole that opportunity as the co-main event. It would have had more eyes, more attention on it. But yeah, that fight was dog shit. That was the sleeper. Literally almost put me to sleep watching it. And I kind of figured this is how Petrino was going to win. It was just going to be a dance around the cage. The thing with Petrino is he doesn't have great takedowns, but he has great takedown defense. And I knew Sergey wasn't going to be able to get him there to the ground where he wanted him. And if that's the case, Petrino was just going to dance around the cage on him the whole fight. But it's always boring when Petrino does that. So, terrible fight.
Well,
Petrino's
yeah,
now
and Spivak did not look like he was able to set up a takedown at all. And, that's another one where you just wonder, what was the game plan here? Spivak was ranked number 9 and Petrino was 11. I'm curious as to what the new rankings are going to be, but I would say give Spivak one more fight, one redemption opportunity. And if it isn't a fight of the night decision or a finish, you cut the man. That's how I think that works. And
I don't think they'll do that. But he's gonna stay far away from a co-main event, and he's lucky if he gets on a main card because they're gonna utilize him for. He'll be like another Tybura, just for the up and coming guys
yeah,
to make a name off themselves to get into the rankings.
yeah. Well, enough about that. That was a very shitty fight. Our main event, man, Anthony Fluffy Hernandez versus Gregory Rodriguez. We were both split last time. You took Fluffy, I took RoboCop. But I was pretty strong on RoboCop first round knockout, which did not happen. So I gotta say, props to Fluffy, man. He is tough as nails. He took so much damage to every area of his body, man. He was dropped 5 times in the second round with leg kicks, was taking unbelievable punishment on the feet. But, as we see, durability does not win these fights. And, when I look at Anthony Hernandez's resume, I don't think it's anything too special. His last fight was his biggest fight, and that was a loss to Sean Strickland. Before that, his biggest win was Roman Dolidze, the fucking goofball that just pulled guard in an MMA fight. So,
No. It was Brendan Allen.
Anthony Hernandez?
Yeah.
No, it was not, my friend. It was Roman Dolidze.
No, that was
Brendan
his best.
Allen?
That was his best performance. His best win was Brendan Allen.
I was saying most recent performance.
Oh yeah.
But okay, yeah. Technically, yeah. His decision win over Brendan Allen. Yes.
Yeah. Number
is
4,
his best.
right?
But I mean,
get it right.
I mean, dude, like, I remember being at Wild Wings watching him struggle to finish a gassed Michelle Pereira. So, I don't know, man. I've never been on the Fluffy train, and I wasn't for this one. I'm a big fan of RoboCop, and he looked fucking great, man. He who's able to defend the takedowns. Yep.
I would say hats off to both guys because, like you said, most people picking RoboCop are going first or second round knockout. Me, on the other hand, I picked Fluffy because I thought that Fluffy could weather the storm, the early storm, and then pick up in the later rounds. What shocked me was that RoboCop had great cardio and was able to push a pace for 5 rounds and match Fluffy's incredible pace. So these guys both deserve a lot of credit. Both of them are at the top of this division, and like nobody was picking. You're lying to yourself if you picked RoboCop decision, and if you did, you just fucking pulled that shit out of your ass. Like you were just taking the highest prop odds. Like there's no way you genuinely thought RoboCop was winning a decision here. You could have thought Hernandez was winning a decision, but most people picked RoboCop round 1, 2 knockout, maybe 3. I'll give you, but I thought Hernandez was gonna weather that early storm. He did. Almost got finished in the second. I thought he was going to weather that early storm, push that pace in the third and fourth, probably break him in the fifth. And RoboCop was just there all night in his face, chopping at the calf kick. Great game plan, chopping the calf kicks, and broke Anthony down. Anthony's got a great chin, but he's shown weakness in the body. Now we know the legs as well. So, but great win from both guys. This was usually when you got cards like this and you got all these finishes, the co-main doesn't deliver, which it didn't, or sometimes it does, but the main event, that's where the real problem comes. Like a lot of those main events don't deliver when it's such a great card going into it. But this main event delivered. It was a great main event. It was a great fight. This card was better than 330, 100%.
Yeah, man. This was a fun one, and I'm very, very interested to see what goes on with middleweight going forward. I'm hearing that Khamzat's moving up, or at least from what I'm hearing, Khamzat was told he's not getting the title shot, so he wants to move up, which with Khamzat out of the division, man, this division seems a lot more fun, a lot less gloomy. And, I'd like to see Rodriguez make it up there. Maybe pull a little Glover Teixeira, that would be sick. But who knows? He's still got a ways to go.
DDP's also talked about moving up too.
Cool. Let him. But, yeah. Overall, great card. So, coming up this Saturday, we have the UFC Fight Night 286, which is Umar Nurmogomedov versus Song Yadong. This is an interesting card, kind of a filler card. This is going to be a 3 a.m. prelim card, which I believe is 6 a.m. main card. So, better set your alarm for this one. Our main card is starting off with Bilal Hassan and Nilson Rojas. Nilson Rojas has yet to fight in the UFC. And neither has Bilal Hassan, but Bilal, similar to Anthony Wint, just won on Contender Series he had a pretty quick knockout for the first week, and he's looking to start his UFC career off with a big win this Saturday.
Who's your pick?
Yeah, I was just realizing I gotta make a pick. Damn. When you look at the stats, man, I mean, these guys are fucking damn close. I mean, when you look at promotion-wise, Bilal was fighting on CFFC, and Nilson has fought all over. So I'm going to put my faith in the CFFC resume, and I'm going to take Bilal Hassan to win this. Neither guy has lost shit, so.
Yeah, this is a tricky one. This is going to be a scrap while it lasts, Looking at Rojas, 9-0 out of, where is he out of? Chile, and 7 of his wins coming by knockout. The only thing that concerns me is his strength of schedule. His last win's coming off a guy who's 4-0, but before that, he fought a guy that was 6-9, 4-1, 2-2, 7-6, 0-1, 3-1, 2-0, 1-0. Whereas Bilal Hassan, as you mentioned, fought for CFFC, was a champion there, defended that belt. His last win was against a 9-1. Oh my God. We don't really put too much stock into that one. But the one before that, guy was 7-0. Fight before that, 8-4, 3-1, 6-2. So he's fought good, solid opponents with solid experience. I'm going to put my trust as well in Bilal Hassan. But this fight should be a scrap, and I will be staying away from betting this one.
Yeah, I think that's smart. That's smart. Why did you redeem it? Yeah, I think that's the way to play this. If you know, this will be a really fun, interesting matchup to see. But moving on, Going from flyweight all the way up to light heavyweight, we got Junior Tafa and C. Liu. C. Liu has 4 pro MMA fights, and I've never heard of WLF MMA. So I don't know. It seems like they're trying to give Junior a layup. You know, the fans love the Tafas for some reason, but I'm gonna go with Junior Tafa to knock this guy out, man. You know, Junior's had. We're at the wrong opponent.
Yeah, Junior Tafo's out.
So is that a fight even on the card, or is that scrapped?
It's Libe Rodriguez versus Che Liu.
All right, you wanna take this one then?
Yeah,
Because I don't have it in front of me. So you go.
So the next fight on the card, we got Libe Rodriguez Jr. versus, I think I'm saying this correctly, Che Liu. Che Liu fighting out of China, 3-1 record. Hasn't fought the best competition, however. His lone loss is via ground and pound to a guy that was 3-0, is currently 7-0. That's a pretty good record right there. But Libe Rodriguez, this is going to be his second fight in the UFC. He lost his debut to Felipe Franco last month, but has a win over someone that's near and dear to my heart, Freddie Vidal. It was overturned to a no contest for drug purposes, but did finish my boy Freddie on the Contender Series last year. I'm going to lean Levi here. I feel like he's fought the better competition. And Che Liu, I feel like they're kind of just throwing him in there because he's from the area. I mean, he has a very extensive kickboxing background, but if what I remember from Levi is that he has really good grappling to kind of to really neutralize that striking of Che Liu. So I'm gonna lean Levi Rodriguez here.
Awesome, brother, and I'll follow you on that one. Moving on to a really fun and highly anticipated fight, the rematch we've all been waiting for: Alex Perez versus Sumaderji. Man, I'm a big Sumaderji fan. You know, this fight I'm excited for. I think depending on who you ask, the narrative of the first fight changes, but according to me, I think Sumaderji was whooping that ass. Alex Perez wanted no part of it. And I forget if it was illegal, what the illegal shot was, but something illegal happened, and Alex Perez used that to...
It was a nut strike.
Yeah, exactly. It was a kick to the nuts. Perez didn't have the nuts to deal with it and bitched out. So I'm hoping Sumaderji comes back, whoops ass, gets what's his, and you know, with Sumaderji, it's always a fun fight. I think Sumaderji has racked up quite a bit of performance bonuses, but at the same time, he's also one of the most frequent fighters to go to decision. So
yeah, I'm gonna take Sumaderji too. I'm gonna follow you on that pick. I think that the diversity in the striking is going to play a huge factor. It looked like it was playing a factor in the first fight. Perez obviously always has that one-shot power at this division, and what Perez used to be known for is his calf kicks, and he's kind of stemmed away from that. I think that would be very smart of him to game plan that in this fight. You know, Sumaderji being the taller, lengthier opponent, I feel like he could really chew up those legs, but I can't put that much trust in Alex Perez, so I'm gonna lean Sumaderji here.
Yeah, 100%.
Next fight on the card, Richie Lang, Kaya Sakura. Don't overthink this one. I know a lot of people love to hate on Kai. Kai's putting belt to ass in this fight. Any guy that gets fucking colded by what's the kid's name? Fucking what's the kid's name?
Gibson.
No, the one that O'Malley just beat. Fucking Ariel Helwani looking like. The fuck's his name?
Zahabi.
Yeah, Zahabi. You see how quickly we forget about that kid? Anybody that gets fucking slept by Zahabi, colded by Zahabi, you're getting slept by Kai here. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I mean, I'm very skeptical on Kaya Sakura. Granted, Richie Lang is coming off being finished. So this is hard, man. I guess I'd have to lean Kaya Sakura because of experience. But what I will tell you is I would totally bet this fight to end via finish. 100%.
No, I like it. Don't overthink this one. Kaya Sakura putting belt to ass on a Richie Lang.
Moving on to our co-main event, we have the return of Yan Xiaonan taking on number 9 ranked Denise Gomez. Man, it's been a bit since we've seen Yan Xiaonan. She hasn't fought since April 2025. What was that? Was that in Jersey? No,
No, I don't think so. I think that might have been its own main event.
that was on the, I don't know, but we haven't seen Xiaonan fight in a while. It's been, over a year, so we can definitely expect to see some ring rust. But on the other side, Denise Gomez hasn't fought since November. So both girls are coming off of long layoffs, a bit of a more win-colored record for Gomez. But, Yan Xiaonan was taking on the top of the division. So she lost to Wei Li and she lost to my girl Verna. Other than that, she's looked great. So I'm taking Yan Xiaonan to have a successful comeback here. I think she'll probably end up getting a decision win here.
See, I'm going to be nervous because it's more than likely going to go to decision. And it's in China, so we don't know what the judges are going to be smoking. But I'm telling you right now, Denise Gomes is just as entertaining as the females that we were talking about earlier. She's riding a nice little, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 fight win streak. She beat Eduarda Moura, Karolina Kowalkiewicz. We're not going to put too much stock in the Elise Reed win. Tisha Pennington. Her losses are to Angela Hill. We broke Angela down a few months ago. It's not a terrible loss. Angela kind of does that. She has a really good win over a prospect that I'm still holding hopes for. She has that 20-second knockout over Yasmin Yaragui. Yasmin's coming back at UFC No Shea. Hopefully she comes back better than ever. But 6-2 overall record in 12 wins. She has 7 knockout wins. So I'm kind of hoping that she gets this one done, but her losses are coming by decision. So it kind of makes me a little nervous. I'm going to pick Yan Xiaonan. After all that, I'm going to pick her. I think being in her hometown and with this fight more than likely going to decision, I think she's going to get this done because Yan has been very durable throughout her career. She's only been finished by knockout once, and that was against Carlos Esparza. Not too good. But, that was many, many moons ago, and Xiaonan has been fighting the top of the top in competition. She lost to the current champ, Mackenzie Dern. She lost to the former champ, Wei Li. No, she beat Mackenzie. Sorry, she beat the current champ. She beat Mackenzie Dern. And she's only lost to Wei Li and Verna. Not bad losses. So I'm going to take Yao Xiaonan to win this one via decision, but I would not be surprised if Denise Gomes gets this one done.
Hell yeah, brother. Well, moving on to our main event of the evening, Umar Nurmogomedov is taking on Song Yadong. Man, Umar is such a fucking beast. He just wants to fight. He'll take on anybody who's willing to fight him because not many people are. And this is another one of those matchups. He's going to China to take on one of the biggest Chinese stars there are. And, I think that I think this is going to be a quick, I would say relatively quicker night for Umar. He's been in a lot of decisions recently. And I think his striking has looked so good. And, we know his grappling holds up against anyone. I think we're going to see ourselves either second or third round TKO or sub. I think we're going to see him hurt or drop Song and utilize that moment to finish the fight.
Umar, your time has come. There's no way out of this one. I'm going Song Yadong, bro.
Crazy.
I don't care what you say. Umar lost to Merab. I know it's Merab, but did show he slows down in the later rounds in 5-round fights. He got dropped by Mario Batista. He went to a decision with Figueiredo. We just saw what Song Yadong did to him. And if he can't just hold you there, he's who is he finished, right? Sergey Morozov. Who's that guy? Brian Kelleher. The Hani Barcelos win is aging very well. But since then, decision against Beksat Almakan, who I think just got cut, and he was dropped about 30 seconds into that fight. Decision with Corey Sandhagen. Welcome to the club. Lost the decision to Merab. Decision.
It was close, though. It could have gone either way.
Could not have gone either way. It was 3-2.
It could have gone either way.
It was 3-2.
They only gave Merab the 5th because he was threw it
It was,
to the crowd. It could have gone
It
either
was
way.
very clear it was Merab's win. Song, the guy's fought the who's who of the division, and he is a very, very, very tricky fight for anybody. For anybody. Nobody's went out there and made Song look easy. Nobody. You go all the way back to when he was in the UFC, his debut, 2017. Kyler Phillips is probably the worst loss he has on his resume, but that was back in 2021. He's beaten Cheeto. He's beaten Julio Arce, who's a good win. He lost to Sandman, but that was from a cut, and he forced Sandman to grapple in that fight. He was out striking Sandman. Ricky Simone, great win. Chris Gutierrez, when he was on the come up, good win. Lost to Jan in a very close fight. That was a close fight. Jan had trouble with them. Cejudo dominated him. O'Malley didn't look the best against him. And then just finished Figueiredo. Yeah, if you think that Umar is just going to go out there and finish Song Yadong, you're out of your mind. If anything, he's going to have another close 48-47 decision. And to do that in China, again, we don't know what these judges are going to be smoking. I think they're going to be favoring damage. And in this fight, who's going to be doing the damage? It's going to be Song Yadong. He has the power, he has the striking, he has the speed. He trains at a Team Alpha Male, which is a wrestling heavy gym. He's only been improving on his wrestling. And sorry to say it to you, brother, Umar's a striker. He's not a grappler. And that's why he lost against Murad, because he's not a grappler. If he's forced to shoot, he will shoot. He obviously trains with the Dagestanis. But Umar and Usman are strikers. They are not grapplers. They come from Taekwondo. That's where you see these great kicks, the movement on the feet. They are strikers who have grappling. And in this fight, it's going to come down to damage. If Umar thinks he's just going to go into China in Song's backyard and try and outpoint him to a decision, he's going to be on the wrong side of a decision. Because Song is going to bring it to him. Song's going to bring the fight. He's going to bring the power. He has the power. And I guarantee at one point he's going to drop Umar, and that is going to be the biggest clip of the fight. And I guarantee that's going to weigh heavy going into the scorecards. I don't think he's going to finish Umar, but I think over 5 rounds, he's going to clearly do the bigger damage. And if Umar slows down, which he has slowed down in 5-round fights, Song's winning this. And I think he's coming into his own here. Song is still pretty young. He is 28 years old. Song Yadong is 28 years old. He might be younger than Umar. Let me just check. He is younger than Umar. Umar is 30 years old. So I think Song's coming into his prime, man. I really do. And I think this is going to be a showcase for him. And I think he's going to get it done. I know it's crazy to say because it's a Nurmagomedov, but Umar is not. There's only one Khabib. There's only one Islam. And I think Song is going to get this one done in his own town of China. And let's fucking go. Back in the box.
I like to see you. I like to see you thinking outside the box here. I'm with everything that you just said. I got one thing. All I ask is I want to see you bet heavy on Song Yadong this weekend. Then
I'll sprinkle something on him.
Sprinkle. You just talked very confident for
I'll sprinkle something on him. Yeah, for sure.
I'm talking like $50 Song Yadong money line, 25 Song decision.
$50 for me is a fucking sprinkle. I fucking, when I lose a lot of fucking money. $50 is a sprinkle. I'll sprinkle that any day of the week.
Throw 100 on that bitch then, huh?
We'll see.
Right now, what are the odds for that, huh? That's what I want to know.
Probably 2-1, which is absurd. Should be a pick'em fight.
I mean, it should not be a pick'em fight.
Should absolutely.
Umar should be a massive. Yeah, okay, good. It's exactly what it should be. Umar's a -500. Song Yadong is +380.
Yo, if anybody's putting money on those odds, you're out of your fucking mind. You're out of your mind. -500 on DraftKings.
Yeah, I'm not going to bet it, but I think it's right.
So you have to put $500 on Umar, which, like we said, if he's going to win, he's going to tip-tap-toe to a very, very, very close decision just to win $100 back. That is absurd. That would not be worth your stress. What is Song right now?
+380.
So $500 pay $50 pays what, 200? Yeah, 240.
So throw 100 on that bitch, bro. Make almost 400. You coming out with almost $500 if you do that. $100 on Song Yadong, picks for proof.
Like I said, I'll be sprinkling something on the kid, and I think he's gonna get it. And I think he's gonna get it done.
Yeah, Alrighty, well, I guess if somehow Song Yadong gets the upset, we'll have this to clip to show that you were right. But more than likely, you're gonna be wrong, my friend, and Umar is gonna continue his little win streak. So
It'll be better for the sport if Song wins. That's all I'm saying.
yeah, okay. He's finished Figgy. That was his only finish in his last five. Is that?
Something Umar couldn't do. Acting
Yeah,
like,
okay. Umar couldn't do it, but
what?
but
Only man to finish
Bro.
Cejudo. Actually, no, that's a lie.
yeah, he fucking what? I poked him. You gonna count that?
Hey, that was a punch.
Yeah. Well, we got our card set. So we have 3 fight nights in total before our next big one.
Yep, and I'll
That's
be
right,
watching very closely to when they start dropping MSG.
Yeah, bro. I might have to.
I'm
Have
going.
to keep my.
I'm fucking going, dog.
We'll have to see the lineup, but yeah, it would be cool to get back there this year. Awesome, brother. Well, I think that's all you got, and that's all I got.
Yes, sir. That's all I got.
Thank you very much for listening. Please like and subscribe, and we'll be back next week with another episode of the Violent Life Podcast. Peace.